On the line now, the State MP for Lara John Eren. Good morning.
Good morning, Mitchell, and good morning to your listeners.
And a big happy birthday to you for today from everyone here at The Pulse. I can't think of a better way to spend the day than here on the station. I hope you're having a wonderful day.
I am so far, and I agree. I wouldn't be anywhere else, Mitchell.
How are you celebrating?
Oh, look, we had a bit of a get-together with the family, immediate family, over the weekend, and there'll probably be a sort of like another immediate family dinner tonight. So, you know, it's not a milestone birthday, but I'm getting up there now, so every day's a blessing, as you know.
Now, the WA state election, a very big win for the Labor Party over there. Do you think there's any ramifications on that win for us here in Victoria? Does it send a message even federally, do you think?
Look, I definitely think, it's a disaster for the Liberal Party because they've lost party status. They're down to 2 seats and potentially they might win the third one, but it doesn't look likely. So the government, led very strongly by Mark McGowan, obviously, through tough times, and COVID does put a lot of questions in people's minds who they should go with in times of, I suppose this is almost like a war, and every election that is conducted through this COVID, I think people want to stay with safe pair of hands, and that's what Mark McGowan provided. And add to that the complexities of some of the challenges going on with the federal Liberal Party. And obviously, there are significant challenges there. And today, March for Justice is going to attract literally tens of thousands of women and men marching across not only Melbourne but across regional Victoria. So there's complexities around that, and certainly the Liberal Party will struggle to be relevant, and they're almost extinct now. So I think the Labor government will have control of 52 seats, and the Liberal Party too, and the National Party could get up to 4. So congratulations to Mark McGowan and his team up there.
In terms of here in Victoria, Daniel Andrews is a bit of a leader like Mark McGowan. He's a strong leader, and the way I see your government is that Daniel Andrews seems to be the chief spokesperson on just about everything, and then of course the other MPs and the cabinet ministers come in after that. So what happens to your government when Daniel Andrews is away for a few weeks? Does that change the dynamics? And of course we wish Daniel Andrews a very speedy recovery.
Thank you for that. Look, these are unexpected things, and that's why you sort of feel very vulnerable. At any moment something could happen, and he was just going about his normal day, walking down steps, and he slips and has a horrific accident, and he's laid up in hospital. So I think in that respect, everybody sympathises with what's going on, and I think a lot of social media comments have been made about get well wishes to Dan Andrews, who's a very popular leader, not only in this state but indeed interstate as well. And so yes, you're right. Having a strong premier, a strong leader, is very important for any government, and I think the people expect that. But at the same time, in the Labor Party in this state, we've got a lot of depth, in terms of talent, and when you look at the backup in cases of emergencies such as these, and for what it's worth, we've seen some photos on social media, and Dan is recovering very quickly, and hopefully he won't need an operation, but he certainly needs to be resting for a period of time, and that will be determined by the doctors, of course, his healthcare professionals. But we're in safe pair of hands. Well, James Molina has been a wonderful deputy leader and acting premier now, ably supported by a raft of talented ministers like Jacinta Allen and Martin Pakula and Martin Foley and Tim Pallas, and I can go on, Mitchell. We've got a very talented and depth on our side. When things like this happen, they quickly leadership is as paramount for any state, particularly in circumstances with COVID. And when you've got such a dynamic team as we have, and we're waiting, obviously, with we're hoping that Daniel comes back to work as soon as possible, but we're taking care of business, and that's what a good government does.
Do you think a lot of people knew who James Molino was before this particular incident, and now he's had to step up? But, for example, during COVID, it really was the Daniel Andrews show. He was doing those press conferences every single day, and he seemed to be, I think for a lot of people, he was the government.
Oh, look, James is extremely popular. He's been the deputy leader for a while now, and on occasions when the Premier does take some time off for whatever reason, then he steps up quite nicely. So I have absolute confidence in James and his ability, and we'll see that this week when Parliament resumes again tomorrow. He'll be taking the questions of the acting Premier. He's a very strong leader, and certainly, we'll be fine going forward up until when Daniel comes back, and hopefully that's soon. Might be a few weeks, but whenever that is, the government is strong. Whether and look, to a certain extent, when you think about politics, everybody's, to a certain extent, it's about the depth of what you've got as a government. But we're all dispensable in some way, shape or form, aren't we? I mean, politically speaking. And so it is about making sure that the state is in strong hands. And on this occasion, even though, we've got a very strong Premier, but we've also got a strong lineup of support ministers and deputy leader like James Molino to take over when necessary.
Now, I see that the Northern Aquatic Centre is attracting a lot of interest from the Liberal Party. We had Bev MacArthur on the program last week suggesting that more needs to be done there to get that up to speed and to get the funding for it. Where do you see the Northern Aquatic Centre now, and is it likely to be able to attract funding at a state level in the next budget?
Well, it's come a long way. Now its business case is done and it's shovel ready, and I'm happy that the council have brought it to this position. And I've been asking for this, and I know that you and I have had conversations about this, getting a project shovel ready so that it can be before government to make determinations on important funding. And this is a large amount of money, so it's over a $60 million project which is split into three. And so when you expend large amounts of money, you expect a business case, and I congratulate the council for getting it to that level. Now, obviously, it's up to, and I know that Sarah Henderson has committed through a certain fund, which is not a dedicated fund, but it's obviously some $8.2 million at this point in time that the council can use, and it's their prerogative to use this fund that the federal government has available to them. And the council have decided to use this specific fund towards the aquatic centre. So I've made it very clear that it is one of my wish lists in terms of in the upcoming budget, and I've had a number of numerous conversations with my colleagues, ministers and local members, and I'm pleased to say that I've got a lot of support from whether it's Christine Cousins or Darren Cheeseman or indeed Lisa Neville, Gail Tierney and Jala Pulford, who's also an upper house member in this district as well, have all indicated their support for this project, supporting my bid through the budget process. And I've had numerous conversations with relevant ministers, whether that be Ross Spence, Minister for Sport, Martin Pakula, again Jala Pulford, Gail Tierney, and of course Tim Pallas and Mary Ann Thomas, who's the new Minister for Regional Development. So I've done all the things that I need to do as a local member, and we're in the lap of the gods when it comes to Treasury and the budget, and only a chosen few know what the successful bids will be, and we'll find out in due course, Mitchell.
And last of all, I saw that you were turning or involved with the Drug and Alcohol Centre out in Corio and the opening, I think, of that. Can you just tell us about how that changes the nature of drug and alcohol services being delivered in this area?
Look, sometimes there are some services you wish you didn't have. Like, you always need a hospital in case of emergencies and you fall ill, and you need a good hospital system to care for you when you fall ill. And the same with drug of dependence, whether it's alcohol or other drugs. If you happen to find yourself addicted to a drug that's spiraling your life in a downward trajectory, and you're losing all of your family and loved ones because of that addiction, then, it's incumbent upon governments and indeed the community to be understanding of having facilities for those people that want to recover from their addiction to be able to have a facility to recover. And to that extent, I'm really proud as a local member to be able to turn the sod on this very important facility, which will be a 30-bed facility located on 95 Henry Street, which is near Flinders, the old Flinders Peak site, which has been demolished, obviously. And it'll be around-the-clock clinic care. So this is for people that voluntarily want to give up their addiction. So there's no drugs on site. There's nothing like that, except for 24/7 health care to make sure that the 30 beds that will be occupied, I would imagine, hopefully by the end of the year, in terms of being up and running and functional, to help those people that want to get rid of their addiction. And it's part of a $50 million government initiative, which will see some 900 Victorians every year additionally be treated for being addicted to drugs or alcohol. So it is part of the $180 million ICE action plan and the $87 million through the drug rehabilitation plan. So there is a plan behind this, and hopefully this will go a long way into saving people's lives and also bringing families back together. It ruins families, Mitchell, like it really does. If you have an addicted member of your family, it ruins their lives. And and this is about getting people back on track, being a successful member of the community, and doing things that normal residents would do. So I'm looking forward to this opening. I turned the sod just recently, about a week ago, and it's being worked on at the moment, and it'll be operational by the end of the year, which is fantastic.
Thanks for being on the program as always, and we'll talk to you again next month.
Thanks, Mitchell.
Thank you very much. John Eren with us there, the State MP for Lara.